Before we starting the video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Story 1. Sarah Thompson, a vibrant and loving wife in her mid-30s, resided in the idyllic town of Crestwood. Her husband, David Thompson, was a charismatic and successful businessman, admired by many for his charm and confidence. They appeared to be the epitome of a happy couple, raising their 2 children, Emma and James, in a warm and nurturing home. But beneath the surface, cracks began to form in their seemingly perfect marriage. Sarah couldn't ignore the subtle changes in David's behavior, the late nights at the office, the distant conversations, the disinterest in their once passionate love life. Doubts crept into her mind, unsettling the tranquility she had cherished for so long. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Sarah's suspicions grew unbearable. Determined to confront the truth head-on, she embarked on a journey that would unravel the facade of her marriage. She climbed into her car, her hands gripping the steering wheel with a mix of apprehension and determination. Her destination was David's workplace, a luxurious hotel where he often held his business meetings. As she approached the hotel's opulent entrance, Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. She steeled herself, taking a deep breath before stepping inside. Sarah maneuvered through the polished corridors, her eyes scanning the faces of the hotel guests and employees. She knew she had to tread cautiously, maintaining her composure until she uncovered the truth. Finally, she found herself outside the conference room, where David's meeting was scheduled to take place. Peering through a slightly ajar door, Sarah's worst fears materialized before her eyes. The room was dimly lit, its ambience suggestive of secrecy and deceit. Her gaze fixed upon David, his handsome face twisted in amusement, while a striking woman, clothed in nothing but vulnerability, stood before him. A wave of shock and disbelief washed over Sarah. She struggled to reconcile the man she loved with the image before her, the man who had promised to cherish and protect their sacred bond. As her heart shattered, she retreated into the shadows, determined to witness the depths of his betrayal. Unnoticed, Sarah listened intently, her ears attuned to every word uttered in that room. David's laughter reverberated through the air, cutting deep into her soul. It was a callous, mocking sound that echoed the demise of their once unwavering love. In that moment of anguish, Sarah's resolve solidified. She vowed to exact her revenge, but not in the way David expected. Instead of confronting him then and there, she would plan her retaliation meticulously, ensuring that every step was executed flawlessly. As she left the hotel, emotions churned inside her, a mixture of anger, sadness, and a quiet determination. Sarah's mind raced, memories flooding back of the struggles she had faced in her life, the losses, the heartbreak, and the battles she had fought and won. It was in those darkest moments that she had discovered an inner strength, a resilience she had long forgotten. With her past as a guiding beacon, Sarah resolved to rise above the pain and use her silence as a weapon. She would gather evidence, consult experts, and harness the support of those closest to her. But above all, she would focus on nurturing her own personal growth, physically and emotionally, preparing herself for the battles to come. Little did David know, his quiet wife was capable of far more than he could ever imagine. Sarah was no longer the unsuspecting victim, she had become the architect of her own destiny. And as she ventured further down this treacherous path, the stage was set for a confrontation that would change their lives forever. Sarah Thompson found herself caught in a web of emotions as she grappled with the shocking revelation of her husband's betrayal. The scene at the hotel replayed in her mind like a haunting melody, refusing to be silenced. Determined to uncover the truth behind David's infidelity, Sarah embarked on a path that would test her courage and resilience. Days turned into nights, and nights into days as Sarah meticulously investigated David's suspicious behavior. She couldn't ignore the nagging voice in her head, urging her to face the harsh reality head-on. Armed with determination and an unwavering spirit, she delved deeper into her husband's actions, determined to find answers. Sarah's pursuit of the truth led her to a private investigator, a discreet and professional ally who would aid her in this quest for justice. With each piece of evidence she uncovered, her pain transformed into a steely resolve. The puzzle pieces began to fit together, revealing a pattern of deception and betrayal. Meanwhile, Sarah focused on nurturing her own personal growth. She enrolled in yoga classes to find solace in the stillness within herself. The deep breaths and meditative poses brought her a sense of tranquility, strengthening her resolve to face the storm that lay ahead. During this time, she confided in a close friend, Emily, who provided unwavering support and a listening ear. Emily had experienced her own share of heartbreak, which only deepened their bond. Together, they formed an unbreakable alliance, with Sarah leaning on Emily's wisdom and strength. As the days passed, Sarah's investigation reached a critical juncture. Armed with irrefutable evidence, she confronted David, determined to unmask his deceit. The confrontation took place within the confines of their own home, where their once happy memories seemed tainted by David's betrayal. David's initially composed facade crumbled as Sarah revealed her knowledge. His shock and panic were evident, but he underestimated the depths of Sarah's resolve. The woman he had dismissed as meek and submissive would prove to be his greatest adversary. Sarah's voice remained steady as she declared her intention to leave him. She emphasized that her departure was not merely an act of wounded pride, but a calculated move to protect herself and their children from further pain. David, still believing Sarah to be weak, responded with arrogance and dismissive laughter. Unbeknownst to David, Sarah had carefully planned her revenge, plotting his downfall meticulously. She would not merely walk away, she would ensure he faced the consequences of his actions. In that moment, Sarah's silent determination transformed into a burning fire, a force to be reckoned with. As the chapter drew to a close, David stood on the precipice of a reckoning he had never imagined. His once impenetrable fortress of charm and deceit was crumbling, exposed by the strength and resilience of a woman he had underestimated. Sarah, poised on the edge of a new chapter in her life, prepared to unveil the full extent of her capabilities. Little did David know, his quiet wife had discovered a dormant power within herself. She was no longer bound by the confines of her past, nor by the role society had assigned her. Sarah would emerge from this crucible of pain and betrayal as a force to be reckoned with, forever altering the course of their lives. As Sarah Thompson embarked on her journey of self-discovery and revenge, the narrative delved into her past, revealing the experiences that had shaped her into the strong and resilient woman she had become. Memories of her childhood struggles and personal tragedies resurfaced, painting a vivid picture of the challenges she had overcome. Sarah's mother had been a pillar of strength, imparting valuable life lessons during their moments of hardship. Her mother's wisdom echoed in her mind as she faced the daunting task of confronting her unfaithful husband. Remain composed in times of crisis, and use your silence as a weapon, her mother's words echoed within her. Drawing upon this sage advice, Sarah continued to gather evidence, leaving no stone unturned in her quest for justice. With the guidance of her trusted private investigator, she uncovered a web of deceit and fraudulent activities intertwined with David's affair. While her focus remained steadfast on dismantling David's empire, Sarah also dedicated herself to personal growth. She attended therapy sessions to navigate the complex emotions swirling within her, gaining insights into her own strength and resilience. In those vulnerable moments, she began to see herself as more than just a victim. She was a survivor with an indomitable spirit. Physically, Sarah took charge of her well-being, engaging in regular exercise and adopting a healthier lifestyle. The transformation was both internal and external, a reflection of the woman she was becoming, one who refused to be defined solely by her husband's betrayal. Behind the scenes, Sarah built a network of support, carefully selecting allies who stood firmly by her side. Emily, her trusted friend, offered unwavering loyalty and understanding. Together, they brainstormed strategies, mapping out the path to expose David's misdeeds. Sarah's preparation extended beyond emotional and social support. She consulted with legal professionals, ensuring her actions were within the boundaries of the law. Her meticulous planning left no room for mistakes or loopholes, each step calculated to inflict maximum damage on David's carefully crafted facade. As the battle lines were drawn, Sarah's resolve intensified. She knew her actions would have far-reaching consequences, not just for David but also for their children's future. She aimed to secure their financial stability, safeguarding their well-being against the storm that was brewing. The chapter culminated in a pivotal moment of reckoning. Sarah, armed with her evidence and a newfound sense of self, finally confronted David. With a calm and measured voice, she unveiled the truth, the infidelity, the deception, and the intricate web of lies that surrounded him. David's once confident demeanor shattered, replaced by a mixture of fear and desperation. He struggled to comprehend the strength and determination emanating from the woman he had underestimated for so long. Sarah's revelation struck a blow to his ego, exposing the fragility of his carefully constructed world. But Sarah's plans extended beyond the revelation. Her voice, filled with an icy resolve, announced her decision to leave him. She emphasized that the consequences of his actions would extend far beyond the confines of their marriage. David, unable to grasp the true depths of Sarah's capabilities, responded with a dismissive laugh, a last attempt to salvage his perceived superiority. Unbeknownst to David, Sarah's actions were not driven solely by revenge. Her intentions were rooted in a deep desire to protect her children and pave the way for a brighter future. She was determined to dismantle the empire he had built on deceit, not only for her own redemption, but also for the sake of justice. Story 2. Olia stood at the gate of her mother's house, her heart fluttering with a mix of anticipation and nostalgia. It had been months since she last visited the village, and the tranquility of the countryside offered a temporary escape from the bustling city life. Little did she know that her return would unravel a series of events that would forever change her perception of reality. As Olia approached the house, a knot formed in her stomach when she noticed her fiance's car parked outside. Confusion washed over her. She hadn't expected him to be here. Could there have been a misunderstanding? With a racing heart, she pushed open the creaking gate, her mind filled with a sense of unease. Stepping inside, Olia was immediately struck by an eerie silence that enveloped the house. The air felt heavy, as if laden with unspoken tension. Her mother's usually cheerful presence was noticeably absent. Instead, the sound of muffled sobs echoed through the rooms, drawing her towards the source of anguish. Following the sound, Olia discovered her mother, huddled in the corner of the living room, her tear-streaked face buried in her hands. The sight of her mother's distress sent a wave of panic crashing over Olia. She rushed to her side, her voice trembling as she called out, "Mother, what's wrong? Why are you crying?" Startled by her presence, her mother lifted her gaze, revealing eyes puffy and red from tears. In a quivering voice, she managed to utter words that instantly shattered Olia's perception of reality. He's here. Your fiancé. I never thought I would see him again." The words hung in the air, each syllable pregnant with a deep sense of sorrow and regret. Confusion clouded Olia's mind as she struggled to process her mother's words. Why was her fiancé here? And more importantly, what had happened between him and her mother that would reduce her to tears? Overwhelmed by a surge of emotions, Olia pressed her mother for answers. With each tearful sentence, her mother began to unravel a long-held secret, one that had been buried deep within her heart for years. She spoke of a forbidden love, a clandestine affair that had tormented her soul, and the scars it had left behind. As her mother's story unfolded, Olia's sense of reality crumbled. The image of her seemingly idyllic family shattered, replaced by a tangled web of hidden emotions and shattered dreams. The truth she had taken for granted dissolved before her eyes, leaving her with a profound sense of loss. In that moment, Olia realized that her life had been built on layers of deception. The familiar faces of her family now appeared in a different light, their actions and motivations shrouded in ambiguity. The once familiar dynamics that had defined her existence were now tainted by the secrets her mother had finally revealed. With her world shaken to its core, Olia's mind swirled with a torrent of questions. Who was the man she thought she knew? And how would this revelation impact her own life and the future she had envisioned? The unexpected encounter at her mother's house had unraveled a chain of events that would propel Olia into a journey of self-discovery as she embarked on a quest for truth and understanding. The secrets of the past had been unveiled, leaving her with a burning desire to uncover the depths of the enigma that had become her life. Olia's mind buzzed with a multitude of unanswered questions as she grappled with the revelations her mother had shared. Determined to unravel the truth, she embarked on a journey to dig deep into her family's history, hoping to shed light on the secrets that had been hidden for far too long. Armed with a sense of urgency, Olia delved into old photo albums and boxes filled with forgotten mementos. Each image she unearthed told a story, revealing fragments of her family's past that she had never known existed. Faces that had once been familiar took on new significance, their expressions holding clues to the hidden narratives woven within her bloodline. As Olia pieced together the fragments, she discovered a series of letters tucked away in a dusty corner. The faded ink on the delicate pages held a correspondence between her mother and a name that sent shivers down her spine: Alexander Ivanov. The letters spoke of a love affair that had blossomed amidst the tumultuous backdrop of a war-torn era. Her heart pounding, Olia read each letter with a mixture of awe and trepidation, the words resonating deep within her soul. The pain and longing expressed in her mother's words were palpable, hinting at a love that had been both passionate and forbidden. But what had become of this Alexander Ivanov, and why had he suddenly reappeared in their lives? Fueled by her thirst for answers, Olia embarked on a quest to locate Alexander. She scoured the internet, reached out to distant relatives, and followed the trail of breadcrumbs left behind by her mother's past. Her efforts eventually led her to a small town nestled in the countryside, where Alexander had retreated into seclusion. With a mix of anticipation and trepidation, Olia stood before Alexander's modest cottage. The door creaked open, revealing an aging man whose eyes sparkled with a mixture of surprise and recognition. In that moment, Olia saw her mother's features reflected in his weathered face, confirming the ties that bound them together. As they sat in the dimly lit room, Olia listened intently as Alexander recounted a tale of love and loss. He had never forgotten Olia's mother, carrying her memory with him throughout the years. His voice cracked with emotion as he revealed the circumstances that had torn them apart, robbing them of a future they had once dreamed of. Through tears and shared regrets, Olia and Alexander unraveled the intricate tapestry of their intertwined destinies. They discovered the forces that had conspired to keep them apart, secrets that had shaped their lives in ways they could never have fathomed. Their connection ran deeper than blood. It was forged in the crucible of a love that had endured the test of time. Armed with newfound knowledge, Olia returned to her mother, bearing the weight of the revelations she had uncovered. The reunion was bittersweet, their shared pain mingling with a glimmer of hope for a future untethered from the burdens of the past. Together, they vowed to confront the truths that had long haunted their family, promising to heal the wounds inflicted by years of secrecy. Olia on a profound journey of discovery, unearthing long-hidden secrets and forging unexpected connections. As the layers of deception peeled away, she began to grasp the complexities of her family's history. Armed with this knowledge, she was ready to face the shadows of betrayal that loomed ahead, determined to find healing and resolution for herself and those she loved. Olia's newfound knowledge of her family's secrets weighed heavily on her heart. The web of deceit and betrayal she had uncovered threatened to tear apart the very fabric of her relationships. With trepidation, she embarked on the painful journey of confronting those who had played a role in the shadows of betrayal. First on her list was her own father, Dmitri, the man she had always looked up to, his image now tainted by the revelations of the past. Olia summoned the courage to sit down with him, her voice steady but her heart pounding. As the truth spilled from her lips, Dmitri's face contorted with a mixture of shock, guilt, and remorse. He struggled to find the words to explain his actions, to justify the choices he had made all those years ago. The weight of his betrayal hung heavily in the air, casting a pall over their relationship. The family dynamic shifted as well. Olia's siblings, Elena and Alexei, grappled with their own conflicting emotions. Loyalties were tested, and the foundation of trust that had once held them together began to crumble. Each member of the family carried their own burden of guilt and regret, unsure of how to move forward. As the days turned into weeks, Olia found solace and support in her friends and extended family. They became her pillars of strength, providing a safe haven where she could share her deepest fears and vulnerabilities. Their unwavering love and understanding helped her navigate the turbulent sea of emotions. While the wounds of betrayal festered, Olia couldn't escape the nagging question of why her mother had kept these secrets for so long. She confronted her, seeking the answers that haunted her every thought. Her mother's eyes filled with tears as she confessed the pain she had carried, the fear of exposing the truth and shattering the fragile peace they had found. Through tearful conversations and shared moments of vulnerability, Olia began to grasp the complexity of her mother's choices. She understood the sacrifice and love that had driven her to bury the past, to shield her children from the painful truths that threatened to consume them. But forgiveness was a journey that required time and healing. Olia grappled with conflicting emotions, torn between the desire to reconcile with her family and the lingering wounds of betrayal. The struggle for redemption was not an easy one, and she questioned whether forgiveness could ever truly mend the broken pieces of their lives. As the months passed, Olia's determination to rebuild her family's shattered bonds grew stronger. She engaged in therapy, seeking guidance and tools to navigate the complexities of forgiveness and healing. Slowly but surely, the seeds of forgiveness began to take root within her heart, nurturing the hope for a brighter future. Trust was shattered, and the foundations of their relationships were tested. Yet within the shadows of betrayal, glimmers of hope emerged as Olia and her loved ones embarked on a journey of self-reflection and healing. The path to redemption stretched before them, and the struggle to rebuild what was broken would shape their collective future. The moral of these two stories is that secrets and betrayal have the power to deeply impact and fracture family dynamics. They teach us the importance of honesty, communication, and forgiveness in maintaining healthy relationships. In the first story, the unexpected encounter between Olia and her mother's secret lover highlights the consequences of hiding forbidden love and the toll it takes on individuals and their loved ones. It serves as a cautionary tale about the destructive nature of secrets and the importance of facing the truth, even when it is painful. In the second story, the unearthing of long-held family secrets and the subsequent confrontation of betrayal demonstrate the devastating effects of deception within a family unit. The narrative emphasizes the significance of open dialogue and addressing past transgressions to foster healing and rebuild trust. Together, these stories teach us that secrets and betrayal can have far-reaching consequences, causing rifts and emotional turmoil within families. They underscore the importance of communication, transparency, and forgiveness in order to heal and move forward. By confronting the shadows of the past and embracing honesty, individuals have the potential to rebuild and strengthen their familial bonds, ultimately creating a more authentic and resilient foundation for their relationships.